And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today we are going to be making a barbecue cup that's so easy. You're going to love that recipe. Then we're going to make a cheesy pizza broccoli to go alongside of it. And then for dessert, we're going to make these little itty bitty mini Rocky Road bites. Wonderful. And all of it is so easy. You can do it any night of the week. I have a skillet preheated here, and I've got about a pound of very lean ground. I'm using ground sirloin, but you could use ground chuck or anything higher, you know, fat-wise higher than ground chuck, or lean-wise, I guess, leaner, like ground round or ground sirloin. But if you use a fatty or cut of beef, make sure that you drain off any excess fat. Now, all I'm doing is browning that beef. Got my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and I'm going to chop one small onion, kind of a fine dice on the onion, because I don't want big chunks of onion in my barbecue bites. But these are very simple and easy to make with ingredients that you can find in your regular grocery store. I really do try to work recipes that you can find the ingredients. Now, I am one of those people that if there is an odd grocery store, a specialty type store, I love to go and shop and look at the different stuff. But I realize not everybody likes to do that. So we try to find recipes, and I work on recipes that are very easy and with ingredients that you can find in your weekly grocery shopping trip. But if you ever are out and you see a little specialty type store, like an Asian grocery store, I love to go to Asian grocery stores. There's a store in Knoxville, Tennessee, that when I'm down there, I always make sure I have time to go there. It's on the west end side of Knoxville. That is the neatest Asian grocery store. They have the most different ingredients, things I don't even know what they are. But I love to go and look. And I have a lot of people ask me, where do you get inspiration for your recipes? There you go. That really truly is how I get a lot of ideas, is walking through grocery stores and looking for new ingredients and thinking about ways to use them. One of these days I'm going to take a camera with me to Knoxville, and we're going to get permission, and we're going to go in that store because it's really cool. Different stuff. I've been working a lot on Korean recipes, so I'm getting a lot of ideas there for that. But today we're going to make something that's very simple and very easy and very good. And you're going to love it, and your family's going to love it. Now, we're just browning up the beef and sauteing the onion until that's good and brown. So we'll just kind of let that do its thing there. And let's talk a minute about the biscuits. Now, I have a muffin tin and just one package of prepared biscuits. I like the Southern style. And so that's what this is. The little small one that has 10. Not the big fat ones, but the smaller ones that have 10 in there. And I just took the biscuits, and I'll do 2 of them for you, or 3. And I sprayed my muffin tin with nonstick spray, and I'm just simply pressing the biscuits down into the tin. And I'll show you. Just take your biscuit, and what I did was just kind of flatten it a little bit in my hand and stretch it out there, and then just work it into the individual muffin tin. If you wanted to make these mini size, you could cut each one of these in like 4. Cut it into quarters and use a mini muffin tin if you wanted just like a bite-size appetizer. That would be good too. But these are just, you know, good size regular muffin tins. And I'm just pressing these biscuits in here, but you can use any kind of biscuits you like. I just like the Southern style. Easy, and most everybody has these in their pantry. So let's just get that in there, and that's all you need to do for that. There'll be 10 of them in the biscuit dough that I bought. There was 10. It's okay, you got 2 empty, but that's all right. Now, let's check our beef. You could substitute ground turkey in this if you wanted to, or use half ground turkey and half ground beef if you really wanted to, or ground chicken to lower the fat content. That would be good. It's almost there. And I think anything you start out with sauteing onions is bound to be good. I love the smell of onions cooking. Onions and celery together are 2 of my favorite things to smell. We don't have celery in this, but you could put it in there if you wanted to, or you could mince up a green pepper and put in there if you wanted to. That would be delicious too. Almost there. Very quick, very easy to do. And I kind of do want to take your spoon, or I'm doing it. You take your spoon and break up the bigger clumps, because you really want this to be a good small, you know, sometimes the beef will clump together and you need to take your spoon or spatula, whatever you're working with, and kind of break it up. I'll tell you another good little hint. If you have a pastry cutter, now I probably wouldn't use the pastry cutter in this because it's a non-stick skillet, but if you're using a stainless steel skillet or the hard anodized, take your pastry cutter and go in there and break up your clumps of beef. That's a good tip for when you want it to be a little finer. I do that all the time. Now, there we go. See, I'm using sirloin, and look, there is no excess fat down in there, but if you used something that you needed to drain, now would be the time to do that. And then we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. I'm gonna add about 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, either light or dark, whatever you have on hand is fine. A little bit of salt, maybe, you know, a teaspoon or so of salt. And some fresh cracked pepper. And I love these disposable pepper mills now that you can buy in the stores that are ready. If you don't own a pepper mill, I collect pepper mills, but if you don't own one, you can get these disposable ones very easily in the grocery store over there where they sell salt and pepper and the spices, and they're handy because there's nothing, I promise you. I have never had a person tell me that has tried fresh ground pepper that they prefer the tin that's already ground up. World of difference in the flavor. So much better to use the fresh. And then I've got just some prepared barbecue sauce. Just bottled barbecue sauce, whatever flavor you like. I kind of like the ones that have the spiciness to them. But you can use the honey or the original or whatever kind of barbecue sauce that you like. About 8-9 ounces or so, half of a bottle. We'll just say half the bottle. And that's it for your filling. You're going to stir all that together. Incorporate all those ingredients together, and that's it for the filling. Now that's very easy, isn't it? I'm going to take a quick break. I'm just going to stir this together, and when I come back, we're going to fill our barbecue cups, and then we're going to get them in the oven, and we'll start on the broccoli. I'll be back in just a minute. Hi, and welcome back. Now, we're just going to take our mixture that we made and just fill your cups with I'm using a little ladle, which makes it very easy. But you could use a spoon or what, ice cream scoop or whatever you have. And just fill them up. Then we're going to bake these for about 20 to 25 minutes. And then we're going to top them with some cheese, but I'm not going to put the cheese on yet. You don't want to put the cheese on until they're almost done. If you do your biscuits ahead of time, sometimes they'll start puffing up in a warm kitchen, so you might need to press them down a little bit more. That's okay. This filling, if you have any left over, would make a wonderful sandwich. If you have like a bun, like a hamburger bun, you could eat it like a sloppy joe type thing, would be delicious as a sloppy joe. A barbecue sloppy joe, which I happen to love, sloppy joes. The homemade ones. I'm not a real big fan of that canned stuff, but the homemade ones, which are so easy, are delicious. All right, now 350 degrees, and we're going to bake these for about 25 minutes on the middle rack until they're puffed and golden. You know, you might want to turn them around depending on how even heat your oven is, but you might want to turn that around after about 15 minutes or so. So we'll get that in. Now, let's talk about our side dish. I meet people all the time that say, I just don't like broccoli, or I just don't like Brussels sprouts, or I just don't like fill in the blank. If there's a vegetable that you think you don't like, try roasting it. There's a world of difference in roasted vegetables and then steamed, cooked to death, or boiled to death vegetables. World of difference. The roasting of any vegetable brings out the sweetness. It caramelizes, which tastes wonderful. I made a version of this at home, gosh, probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and Mike went crazy over it because I roasted the broccoli, and he was like, that is the best broccoli. It's wonderful, and you roast it until these little flowerets start getting a little bit golden. Delicious. So today, we're gonna do a version of that. My knife needs to be sharpened. We're gonna make a pizza, roasted, cheesy, delicious, fresh broccoli. Now, I like to peel the stems of my broccoli. So what I do is take a vegetable peeler, and because to me, I like the stalk better than the flowers. Some people like the florets better, but for me, I like the stalk, so I am not wasting that stalk. But I do want to peel off that outer layer because it can be very tough. It can be very fibrous, and it's just not good. So just take a peeler, a vegetable peeler, and you'll see the difference. You see the difference in the colors? You want to get down to that. Here's a good example. You see right here, those little stringy fibrous bits? You want to get rid of those because they really are tough and they're not pleasant to eat. But you could save the ends that you cut off and all of these trimmings if you wanted to make a vegetable stock. You could absolutely save that and make a vegetable stock out of it, or you could just discard it. Just take a minute to do this. This is one of those times you really do need fresh broccoli. I will use frozen broccoli sometimes, not for this recipe, but for other things. And broccoli is one of those vegetables that I find frozen is perfectly good. I steam it and then dress it with some kind of a lemon or butter dressing, and it really is good. But this time you want fresh broccoli. And this, I've been doing a lot of research lately on things that we can eat to boost our immunity. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. I am just someone who loves to cook. But I read constantly on foods and things that help you, and I want my children to be healthy. And so I've been doing a lot of research lately on how to boost your immune system naturally with food. This is a superfood, as they call it. It is one of the healthiest things that you can eat. Full of antioxidants. It's called a cruciferous vegetable, in case you didn't know that. It's one of the cruciferous vegetables. If you eat this often, and I mean like 2 to 3, 4 servings of different broccoli, cabbage, turnips, Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, those types of things are what's called cruciferous vegetables. It helps to reduce the incidences of cancer in your body. So eat your broccoli. I want to cut mine in spears. So I'm cutting it in half, and then I'm going to cut it in half again and just make little broccoli trees out of it. But you need to eat broccoli. It is so healthy and so good for you. And honestly, so delicious. Really. If you think you don't like broccoli, I bet you've only had it boiled until it is mushy and not good. So try it roasted. Be careful with your knife. Just get in there, cut it in half, and then cut it into spears. You could cut it into bite-sized pieces if you wanted to, but I don't want to. I want to do it just like this. And I have my baking sheet lined with aluminum foil, the nonstick foil, my best friend in the kitchen. I use this nonstick aluminum foil for so many different things because it cuts down on your cleanup. It makes it easier, and it just, I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, you want to boost the immunity building things in this broccoli. Use olive oil, another heart-healthy oil for you. A couple of tablespoons all over it. You could do this in a separate bowl if you wanted to and then mix it, but I don't really enjoy washing dishes, so I do it on the pan and then do it with my hands. Clean hands are truly your best tools in the kitchen. We're making this a pizza flavor. If you think of the flavors of pizza, and I'm using oregano. That's about a teaspoon of oregano, a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then for a little kick, some crushed red pepper flakes. Chili peppers, honestly, another healthy thing for you to eat. If you really just don't like heat and spicy, you don't have to put the red pepper flakes in it, but I find it marries very well with broccoli. So, and then we've got a lemon. Traditionally, I guess not a pizza flavoring, but it does go very good with broccoli. So I'm going to zest one over it, and then I'm going to get the juice from the lemon. A zester is a great little tool to have in your kitchen. It just takes off the outer yellow part of the lemon and the green part of a lime if you're using limes. And it really, 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 that's where the flavor, a lot of the flavor is. Then I roll it on my board, cut it in half, and I'm going to use my wonderful little reamer. Because I'm not using a bowl, I'm just going to set it right there because I'm going to toss it all together anyway. But I don't want the seeds, so I do it over a little strainer. And this is a juicy lemon. I love lemon. I like lemon in many things. Lemon and broccoli are just perfect for each other. And there you go, that strains out all the seeds. Then take your hands and just stir it all together. Mix it up, get those flavors on everything, and then make sure that it's in a single layer on your baking sheet, 425 degrees, for about 20 to 25 minutes, or until it's tender and your little florets start getting a little tiny bit brown. And I promise you, the best broccoli you've ever eaten. I'll be back in just a minute. We're going to get this in the oven, and when I come back, we're going to start on our dessert. And welcome back. Now, here are our beautiful, delicious barbecue cups. We're going to top those. They've been baking for about 25 minutes, and we're going to top them with just a little bit of cheese. You can use any kind of cheese that you like. I found one that's the triple cheddar, and it has Vermont white cheddar, sharp cheddar, and mild cheddar mixture. So that's what I'm using today, but you use whatever kind of cheese that you like. And we just want to put a little bit on there. And then we're going to put these back in the oven to bake for another 3 or 4 minutes just to melt that cheese over the wonderful little barbecue cups. You just want to top them a little bit. And I promise you, you know what? Even without the cheese, these are delicious. But this just takes it over the top. Wonderful, wonderful dish. Your kids are going to love this. Great for a party. If you're having a dinner party or something, this is a great dish to have on hand, and you can make these ahead, and they'd be good room temperature even. So let's put these back in the oven for about another 3 or 4 minutes, just to melt that cheese, and then we're going to eat it. But let's get started on our dessert. Now, this is what I call like a Rocky Road minute bite. In this pan, I have a simmering water, and in this bowl, I have about, 10 ounces or so of peanut butter chips, and then about 3 or 4 ounces of chocolate chips, and I'm using the semi-sweet. And all I'm doing is melting them. My water's just come up to a simmer, If you want to, you can do this in the microwave. Put it in this bowl and put it in the microwave. But I don't have a microwave back here, so I'm doing it over a double boiler, and it works just as good. To that mixture, we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of peanut butter. You don't have to measure this out. Just get yourself a big clump of peanut butter and put in there. And the peanut butter and the chocolate will melt together, and it is so good. I love that flavor combination of peanut butter and chocolate. Now let's turn that down. It's come up to a simmer because you don't want to burn the chocolate. And be careful because that steam is hot. And just stir with a whisk until it starts melting, and then it'll all come together and smooth out. So we'll just let that go for just a minute. But please be careful if you're doing it this way because that steam is very, very hot. I have a little mini muffin tin that I've sprayed with nonstick spray. You don't have to use the little mini muffin tin. You can have a sheet of parchment paper or wax paper and drop by spoonfuls, but this helps it to keep its shape easier. If you have them, you can line this with the little mini muffin tin liners, but I don't have any of those, so we're just going to spray it with nonstick spray. Now in this bowl, I'm going to mix about a cup of mini marshmallows, about a cup of the rice cereal, like Rice Krispies or something like that, about a cup or so. If you like any one ingredient more than the other, feel free to add more of that ingredient. And then I'm going to bring up another little board because I chopped onions on this cutting board and I don't want my cashews to taste like onions. So this is some cashew nuts. I chose cashews, but you could use peanuts, you could use walnuts, you could use any kind of nut you like, but I just happen to really like cashews. And I'm going to chop them up, make sure they're fresh, and they are. I love cashew nuts. Pistachios, you could use pistachio nuts. And nuts are another one of those foods, quite frankly, that's a superfood. You don't want to eat too many because they do have some fats, but it's the heart-healthy fat. I just want to cut these into a little bit smaller size pieces. And then I'm going to add those to my mixture. And we're going to melt this, put the peanut butter mixture in there, and stir it up. That's how easy it is. Now your broccoli should be roasting, and when it gets tender, like the last 2 or 3 minutes, we're going to top that with some cheese. Let's stir all this together. You really could add anything you wanted in here. If you wanted to break up some graham crackers, you could. Whatever you like. Let's see how we are. Be careful. Remember, this is very hot. Now, do you see how this is melting? The steam is causing this to melt. It will be very thick. I'm going to have to get a towel. That's hot. And it's starting to melt beautifully. I could eat this with a spoon. If you wanted to use, there's a product that you'll find with the peanut butter, and I saw yesterday that they're even coming out with more varieties of it, but the Nutella product, if you wanted to use that instead of peanut butter, you could. Would be delicious. Hershey's has got a new one coming out. I can't wait to taste it. Just want to melt that and stir it in with the Rice Krispies. All right, now we'll finish this up in just a second, but I want to show you the broccoli. I've turned my oven to the broil section, and I'm going to take just some shredded Parmesan, Romano, Pecorino, whatever kind of cheese that you like, provolone, just a little bit. You don't want too much because you really don't want to mask the flavor of the broccoli. And we're going to put that back in the oven under the broiler for just a minute to melt that cheese, and then I'll show you what we've done here. So let's get this back under the oven. Just take a minute or two. And our barbecue cups are finished. Let me show you what these look like. Don't they look good? Here's our plate. Let's get a couple of these out. Look at that, how delicious. Oh, so good. Sometimes you might have to, the mixture with the brown sugar will caramelize on the pan, so you might have to take a knife and just kind of work, but it'll come out. They're hot, so be careful with it. There you go. Wonderful little delicious biscuit cups. So good. Now, all I did was take the melted mixture and stir it in with my Rice Krispie mixture. And I'm taking 2 spoons and just kind of going down in the little mini muffin tins, just so it can hold its shape while it hardens. And then leave these in there for 10 minutes or so, and then they'll be wonderful. Let that melted mixture cool, and then it will harden back up. These are so easy, and this is something your kids would love to help you do. And you could mix it up any way that you like. And I bet our cheese is melted. We'll finish these up in a minute, but that's all there is to that. And then just let that cool. No baking required. Now let's get our wonderful broccoli out. So good. Yep, it's done. Oh, I wish you could smell this. It is wonderful. And this is the broccoli, the pizza broccoli. See how the edges have just kind of gotten just a touch bit golden? Serve that up alongside your wonderful little muffin cups, and there you go. 3 delicious, healthy, and easy recipes for you to try. Thank you for joining with me, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Thank you for watching Everyday Manna with Lisa. This program is made possible by viewers like you. Your support is continually needed to keep Christian programming on the air. Please send your best financial gift to Living Faith Television in care of Everyday Manna,